Are black men not protecting black women? Let's talk about it. Are black women protected? That's the $1 million question. And we really need to have a real heart to heart conversation about it. But we need to have these conversations and be intellectually honest. And we need to come at the conversations understanding that the result needs to be a stronger, more intact community. And we also have to remember there's agents in our community that a lot of the times look just like us, that participate in these conversations, but their goal is to make sure that we do not come together. So we're going to start with an analogy. Think about a bodyguard. If a bodyguard is going to protect an asset, what's the important thing that the asset needs to do? The asset needs to listen. If the bodyguard is telling you to duck, to go to the left, go to the right, get in the car, the asset needs to listen. If the asset doesn't listen, that diminishes the bodyguard's ability to protect the asset. So I'm going to bring up a diagram. And now this is just some random facility I pulled up. But we're going to use this bodyguard analogy. We're going to take it a little bit deeper, okay? So let's say you're in this facility, you need to escape, okay? And there's all types of obstacles that can impede your ability to escape. Being the man, being the leader of the household makes a plan for you. He says, hey, we're going to come out here. We're going to turn down here. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. Your man maps this plan out and says, this is the path of least resistance, okay? He knows there's going to be obstacle here, obstacle here, obstacle here, obstacle here. But he's planned for this, so he knows those obstacles are going to be there, and so he's making the way. There's a contingency plan to deal with all these obstacles as you come across it. But what we see a lot of the times in the community is, so a woman will go this way, that blue line, right? And they'll go that way just because they can, just because they want to let the man know, I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to follow that red line. But what happens, encounter a multitude of obstacles that make their life more difficult. And then they blame the man for not protecting them. But it's like, if you followed the red line, I had it mapped out for us already. You've already accounted for all the obstacles. I made a way for us. But I made the way for us and you followed your own path. Okay, so the bodyguard cannot protect you if you don't follow the plan. But you wanted to go on your own path. And that's fine. As adults, we do have that ability to go on our own path. But when you chart your own course, you cannot go back and blame your men for not protecting you. You have to own up to your actions. If it didn't pan out however you wanted it to pan out, then you need to look internally and see what was wrong with your plan. Maybe you didn't plan well enough, or maybe you should have followed the plan your man made. All right. Now I got to address this one point. Women, if your man cannot make a plan like this, then you need a new man. And ladies, period, you need a man that can make a plan. Don't sit up, don't date, don't get pregnant by men that cannot make plans. The response you hear to that is, the men able to make plans don't want me, or they're dating a white woman, or you just hear all this, right? You need to figure out why those men that have the ability to create a plan do not want you. A lot of the times, a lot of ladies out here don't like to have that introspective thought and think, why do the men that have the plan, know how to make plans and have resources, why don't they want me? And since they don't have an introspective conversation and a self-talk, they have to just say, oh, they don't want black women. That couldn't be further from the truth. Instead of being a sore loser, look within inside yourself and say, how can I position myself to where a man that can make a plan like we see on the screen right here How can I position myself so that I can find one of those men that's going to chart the course for us, that's going to analyze all the obstacles in path and develop a plan for how we're going to come across those obstacles. And now every obstacle is not going to be planned out. Like we have known obstacles on this red line, but there's going to be obstacles to be ready for. Or we're not going to anticipate. We're going to be ready for them, but we're not going to anticipate them. And you need a man that's going to be able to think on the fly and get you guys through that obstacle. A lot of y'all are not dating men like that. You're dating men and you're both charting blue lines. You're trying to get out of this campus however you can. And then when it fails, then you want to blame the men. And now no one's perfect in this situation, okay? But you got to understand the role you're playing in this. And the reason why this is super important is because when Meg Thee Stallion had her issue, one of the things she was saying is protect black women. She didn't feel protected. What is like, are you following the path of a righteous man, of a planner? Or are you following your own path and you're hanging out with all types of ruffians and people, questionable characters? And when it finally comes and bites you in the rear end, now you asking decent men to come protect you? You want to be able to twerk and strip and do whatever you want and be out in the streets ripping and running. You want to be drinking and cursing and using all this foul language. But then you want us to protect you as if you're this nice lady that's, tended to the family. You can't have it both ways. If you want to be independent and you want to be your own person and you don't want to follow anybody's leadership, then own it. Own it all the way. Don't say that you're this independent vessel that doesn't need a man, and then when you go into a man's world and get shown that you're in a man's world, then you want to blame your man and say, oh, you didn't protect me. Remember, you cannot be protected if you don't listen. Any bodyguard, any security detail is going to tell you that. If you don't listen to the plan, we're not going to be your security. Do you think the Secret Service could protect the President of the United States if the President of the United States does not listen to them? Okay, the President of the United States on paper might be the most highest ranking person out there, but that person has to succumb to the leadership of their security detail because the security detail mapped everything out. They know the path to go. They scoped out all the windows. They made sure there's no snipers. They looked at all the stores and made sure everybody closed the doors on this particular route so that the president could travel through safely. But if the president decides to go down another path, guess what can happen? They could be compromised. So what I'm saying to you right now is, if you want to be protected, find someone that can lead you. Lock into their plan. That's if you want to be protected. If you don't want to be protected and you want to be this independent person in a man's world, by all means do that. But just accept the consequences of doing that. That's the part about being an adult, accepting the consequences for your actions. And we see time and time again, people don't like to do that. They like to make excuses, and you end up with these degenerate behaviors over and over and over and over again. Last 2 points. When someone's telling you protect black women, or black women need to be protected, or black women are not being protected, look at that person that's saying that. What is their agenda? If that person doesn't have a black agenda, then you need to see whose agenda are they following. Whose agenda are they following? Are they following an agenda that's going to help you be stronger, faster, more empowered as a black community? Or are they following some white liberal agenda that's just going to help you stay disenfranchised? Because if we're keeping it a buck, in that diagram I showed, that diverted path that the woman took, Uncle Sam was there waving bucks. Oh, your man got $100 for you. I got $200 for you. And your man just got out of jail because I just locked him up. And he's not going to be able to get a job because we don't want to hire felons. So come get this $200. So you got to realize that a lot of these people that's telling you this don't have your best interest at heart because they don't have a black agenda. They have the agenda of your oppressor, and you're puppeting their talking points. We've seen this. Intersectionality is a failure. We saw how feminism didn't play out, like especially when Trump was running for president. We had the grab her by the P incident. We had all these women up in the uproar and a rage about this comment. Oh, the sexism. Oh my God, it's the patriarchy. But when it came time to vote, like over 50% of white women voted for Trump. So intersectionality is cool when they want to use you for whatever game they got going on. It's like, okay, these white women want to get at their men. They want to get at their men, so they're going to use you to get at their men. But when it comes time to divvy up resources or to pick a side, they're going to side with their men. And then you out here are left with nothing. And you just fought your men to side with someone that ain't trying to side with you. Let's take a look at your men. How are your men in reality? Let's not look at it through the lens of white supremacy. Let's look at how your men really are. The CDC released a report, said black fathers spend more time in their children's day-to-day lives than dads from other racial groups. I'm gonna repeat that. Black fathers spend more time in their children's lives than dads from other racial groups. All right? Although black fathers are more likely to live in separate households, Pew estimates that 67% of black dads who don't live with their kids see them at least once a month, compared to 59% of white dads and 32% of Hispanic dads. It also goes into how much time the fathers spend with their kids, how much they read with their kids, how much they assist with the children. And black fathers, black American fathers, were at the top. That's your men. That is your men. So when you're saying these guys ain't protecting you, is that really what you're thinking, or are you taking the agenda of someone that wants to tear our community apart? Last point. Nothing's perfect. Nothing is perfect. We're under constant psychological, economical, physical attack day in and day out. And they're currently trying to replace us. And throughout this, there's been a lot of dysfunction in our society, in our community, as a result of this constant, nonstop attack. We've seen how mass incarceration scooped black men up out of the household, and Uncle Sam came in and played daddy with the welfare. We've seen that. Okay? But let's not use this dysfunction as a reason to stay separated. And let's not let our enemies use our dysfunction as a way to keep us separated. Make sure you're choosing properly, men and women. Choose properly. Have kids with the right person, and have kids when you're ready to have children. Have children when you have the financial resources to take care of them children. Have children when you have some darn sit so you can raise your children properly. and how to be good stewards of the community, and how to have a black mind state and care for other black people. Last thing we need is more black people out here that seek white acceptance and then look to their brother or to their sister and look at them with scorn and contempt and distrust. Because the one that's really gonna get you is the one that doesn't look like you. And with that said, thank you for watching.